My name is Emily. On my 30th birthday, in a crowded cafe, I learned my own family had already decided what would happen to my house, without telling me. I stayed quiet that night. If something similar has happened to you, share your story in the comments. The cafe was already full by the time I arrived, the kind of place people chose after work because no one had to dress up or explain themselves. Plates clinked, someone argued with the register about splitting a tab. My coworkers waved me over with raised cups, acting like 30 was a milestone instead of a scheduling error. Linda stood near the pastry case, fixing her scarf for the third time. Ryan hovered close to her, phone in hand, nodding at things that didn't need agreement. Friends from college filled one long table. A couple of people from my office stayed near the counter, polite, detached, ready to leave early. A server brought the cake out too soon. Pink frosting. My name spelled correctly, which felt like effort. Someone said it looked great. Another person asked how old that recipe was. Normal talk, the kind that made a room feel harmless. While I signed the receipt for the cake, a voice carried over the noise. Linda leaned toward Ryan, close enough to pretend privacy without earning it. "While everyone's here, go change it," she said. Ryan didn't answer right away. He shifted his weight, glanced around, then nodded. This is the right moment. No one gasped. No music stopped. Someone laughed too loudly at the wrong joke. The words didn't echo. They landed and stayed. The meaning didn't need translation. Change it meant the house. The one with my name attached on paper, at least the last time anyone asked. The one I paid repairs on without asking questions. The one I never lived in because it made things simpler. A coworker asked if I wanted another drink. My hand took the glass before my mouth answered. "Sure," came out anyway. Ryan stepped away, already dialing. Linda turned back toward the table, her expression reset, like a screen refreshed too quickly. She caught my eye and gave a small nod, the kind people use when they think a situation is handled. Someone started cutting the cake. A server leaned over and checked the candles, counting twice. "Do you want another one?" she asked. "It looks like there's still a year missing." A pause stretched just long enough to feel deliberate. I nodded. "Yes," I said. "Better be accurate." The candle went in. No one commented. Plates were passed around. A friend asked how work was going. I answered with a sentence that didn't invite follow-up. Ryan's chair scraped as he moved toward the door, phone pressed to his ear, voice lowered but not careful. Linda smoothed her scarf again, then reached for a fork she didn't use. A colleague raised a glass. "To Emily," he said, still standing. People laughed, unsure why. I lifted my plate instead. Frosting smeared where the knife slipped. Someone asked if I wanted to make a wish. The question floated, unanswered, then drifted off. The parking lot behind the cafe thinned out fast. People hugged, promised to text, checked watches like the night had other obligations waiting. Ryan's car was gone before anyone finished leftovers. Linda lingered near the door, thanking people for coming as if she had hosted the thing herself. A coworker walked past me, keys swinging. "Your mom's funny," she said. "She kept saying you don't need help with anything." "That sounds like her," I replied. Another message buzzed before the engine started. Then another. A cousin I hadn't spoken to in months. An aunt who never texted unless there was news. "Heard the house is finally getting sorted. About time things were made official." The phone went face down on the passenger seat. The screen lit up again anyway. At home, shoes came off by habit. Mail waited on the counter, still unopened. The apartment was small enough that nothing ever felt far away. A stack of folders sat where I left them months earlier, pushed to the side after a weekend of paperwork that went nowhere. A message from work followed. One of the project managers. "Hope you had a good birthday. Your mom's comment cracked people up." Which comment? She said, "You're so independent, you don't need a thing." That one. The kettle went on. Water boiled faster than expected. Steam fogged the cabinet door and cleared just as fast. Another message slid in, this time from Linda. "We'll talk later. Long night." No question mark. No room for one. By morning, the tone had shifted. A group text from family appeared, already mid-conversation. Plans discussed as if decisions had passed through the right channels. Ryan typing, Linda approving with thumbs up emojis, someone asking logistics. No one asked me. A break in meetings allowed a call downtown. Marcus Lee answered on the second ring. "Can you come by this afternoon?" he asked. "I can clear 20 minutes. His office sat above a dry cleaner and next to a place that sold sandwiches by the pound. The waiting area had chairs that didn't invite comfort. A printer hummed somewhere behind a door. Marcus skimmed what I brought, not lingering on the personal notes I had tucked between official pages. "When was the last time you signed anything related to the house?" he asked. 2 years ago, property tax forms, maintenance receipts. "And since then?" "Nothing with my signature." He nodded once. "Did anyone ask for consent, even verbally?" "No." Marcus leaned back, fingers folded. "If you didn't sign, then this isn't a misunderstanding," he said. "This is an action." The phrasing stuck. No raised voice, no moral lecture, just classification. A notification chimed on his screen. An automated email confirmed our appointment. Estate review, standard procedure. Marcus tilted the monitor slightly as if apologizing for the tone. "The system has a way of sounding polite," he said, even when it's about to get inconvenient. Back at work, the afternoon dragged. A supplier called about a delay. A client asked for an update that didn't exist yet. Another text from family came through. "We assumed you were fine with this. You always are." Dinner plans went unanswered. Dishes stayed in the sink longer than usual. The folders came back out, spread across the table this time. Old bank statements, repair invoices, a photo of the house taken after a storm, roof half covered, my car visible in the driveway. Another email arrived before midnight. Confirmation of documents received. No commentary, no opinion. Marcus needs time to verify. The next day brought a voicemail from Ryan. "Mom's stressed," he said. "You know how she gets. Let's not make this bigger." No response went back. Linda called that evening. The phone rang until it stopped. A message followed. "You could have said something at the cafe." The sentence sat there, waiting for agreement. The folders returned to the bag. Keys went on top. Shoes lined up again. The apartment door closed behind me with the same sound it always made. On the train, someone read over my shoulder without pretending otherwise. A transit announcement reminded riders to watch their belongings. At Marcus's office, a paralegal accepted the documents with a practiced smile. "Someone will be in touch," she said. "How long?" I asked. "Hard to say." Her screen chimed again. Another automated note went out, time-stamped and neat. Marcus didn't look up right away when I stepped into his office. Papers were spread across his desk in uneven stacks, some clipped, some loose. A yellow tab stuck out from the middle of one folder, like it had been waiting. "Give me a minute," he said. I took the chair across from him and set my bag down. The phone buzzed before it could settle. Ryan's name lit the screen. The call went unanswered. A second later, a voicemail notification appeared. Marcus slid a document forward. "This came up in the county records," he said. "It wasn't flagged the first time." The page held a short notarized note dated 14 months back. Linda's name appeared twice. The language was thin, almost casual. Temporary authorization, financial necessity, limited duration. She told the bank she needed flexibility, Marcus continued. Bills, credit pressure. This gave her room. "For how long?" I asked. "That part's vague." Another buzz. This time, a message. "Mom's not doing well. She's exhausted. I don't think now is the time to push." Marcus didn't comment. He turned the document sideways and tapped the margin. "This doesn't transfer ownership," he said, "but it opens a door. And once a door's open, people start walking through." Work calls threaded through the day whether I answered or not. A contractor needed confirmation. A client asked for revised numbers. In the hallway outside my office, someone complained about a deadline slipping. "Can you get me that update by 4?" my manager asked while passing. "Sure," I said. Emails from years ago surfaced that afternoon. Old threads with subject lines that meant nothing back then. Requests to reimburse repairs. a forwarded invoice, a short reply from Linda thanking me for handling it. Another call from Ryan. This time I picked up. "She's barely sleeping," he said. "This is hitting her hard." "What part?" I asked. "The stress, the confusion. About what?" A pause followed, not long enough to be accidental. "About everything," he said. The call ended without agreement. Back at Marcus's office later that day, he lined up the evidence in a way that felt deliberate, each document placed without commentary. "None of this is dramatic," he said. "That's actually the problem." A notification pinged on his computer. An automated message from the clerk's office arrived. "Please allow 5 to 7 business days for processing." Marcus exhaled through his nose. "They always say that," he said, as if time were neutral. Another message from Linda came through while he spoke. Long, several paragraphs, no mention of paperwork, plenty about family, about how things used to be, about loyalty. "You've always been strong. We raised you that way. I hope you remember that." Marcus glanced at the phone when it buzzed. "Is that her?" he asked. "Yes." "Does she mention the authorization?" "No." "That's consistent." At work, people started watching for reactions that never came. Someone offered coffee without asking. A teammate lowered their voice to say they hoped things were okay. "Everything's fine," I said. A file transferred late in the afternoon. Another invoice printed. The copy machine jammed and demanded attention like it always did. Marcus called just before 5. "I found something else," he said. "It's small, but it matters." The note had been referenced in a secondary filing, a follow-up that didn't add power, but extended access. Not illegal, not clean either. "It suggests intent," he said. "Nothing conclusive yet." "What do you need from me?" I asked. "Permission to proceed," he replied. "Once I submit this, it changes the tone." The phone buzzed again. Ryan, once more. "She keeps asking why you won't talk," he said when I answered. "She thinks you're upset about something else." "Does she?" I asked. "She thinks you're hurt." The hallway outside my office filled as people packed up for the day. Someone laughed about weekend plans. Another complained about traffic. "I'm at work," I said. "We can talk later." The call dropped without goodbye. At Marcus's desk, the papers stayed where they were. No one rushed them. The system didn't react. It never did until pushed. "You don't have the full picture yet," Marcus said. "That's the risk." "What happens if we wait?" I asked. He shrugged. "Things settle," he said, "in someone else's favor." A final email chimed in. The clerk's office again. "Your request has been received." No names, no context, just acknowledgement. The pen Marcus offered felt heavier than expected. The signature line waited without pressure. Outside his window, someone argued over parking. "Go ahead," I said. He nodded once and gathered the documents into a single stack. The printer started up behind us, steady and indifferent. On the way out, the phone buzzed again. A message from Linda appeared at the top of the screen. Family shouldn't need lawyers. The house looked smaller than I remembered, or maybe familiarity had worn it down. Cars lined the curb in uneven gaps. A neighbor I didn't recognize watched from across the street, then turned away. The front door was open before anyone knocked. Linda waved everyone in with a practiced smile. "Let's keep this simple," she said. "We're family." Chairs were pulled closer than needed. Someone moved a stack of mail off the table to make room. Ryan leaned against the counter, already acting like the space belonged to him. An uncle cleared his throat. A cousin whispered something and stopped when eyes shifted. Marcus stayed near the doorway, hands empty, posture neutral. No briefcase, no introduction. Linda spoke first. "I had someone help me with a few things," she said. "Just paperwork, nothing serious." "What kind of help?" Marcus asked. "Administrative," she replied. "People do it all the time." Ryan stepped in without waiting. "I've already made plans," he said. "Once everything's finalized, I'll move in. It makes sense." A few heads nodded. Someone murmured agreement. Another person frowned, then looked down. "This didn't need to go this far," an aunt said. "Bringing a lawyer into it feels extreme." "It's a private matter," someone else added. "Why involve outsiders?" Marcus spoke evenly. "I'm here because documents were altered without consent," he said. Linda lifted her hands, palms out. "Altered is a strong word." "What would you call it?" he asked. She hesitated, then smiled again. "Handled." The room shifted. Voices overlapped. Advice came fast, unfiltered. "You've always been flexible," a cousin said to me. "This isn't worth tearing people apart." Another voice chimed in. "The papers you have are old," someone said. "Things change." A folder slid across the table, not gently. "These don't apply anymore," Ryan said. "You should have kept up." Marcus glanced at the dates. "Some rights expire," he said. "Others don't." A phone buzzed on the table. Linda ignored it. Ryan checked his and typed back without looking up. From the hallway, a woman stepped in wearing a badge. "Please lower your voices," she said. "This isn't a courtroom." No one argued with her. The reminder worked better than any appeal to reason. After, the conversation lost its shape. Sentences started and stopped. People talked past each other. Someone suggested coffee. No one moved to make it. Marcus leaned toward me. "We're losing time," he said. "What does that mean?" I asked. "It means leverage," he replied. "Some deadlines passed while this stayed informal." A door opened in the back. A repairman walked through, paused, then backed out slowly. Ryan straightened. "I'm not trying to take anything," he said. "I just need stability." "Then why rush?" Marcus asked. "Because opportunity doesn't wait," Ryan said, "and Mom can't handle the stress." Linda nodded, eyes damp but steady. "I'm tired," she said. "That's all." The room went still. Sympathy landed where it always did. Marcus checked his watch. "We'll need to proceed differently," he said. "This path isn't quick anymore." "What happens now?" someone asked. "Now," he said, "things slow down." A chair scraped as I stood. No announcement followed. No final word. Linda reached out. "We can talk later," she said. "Just us." Ryan didn't look over. At the door, the woman with the badge spoke again. "Please remember," she said, "shared spaces require cooperation." Outside, the air felt the same as anywhere else. Cars passed. A delivery truck blocked the corner. Someone argued into a phone about a late payment. In Marcus's building, the elevator stalled between floors for a second too long. A stranger sighed. "Of course," he said. When the doors opened, a receptionist handed Marcus a printout. "This came through," she said. The heading read like a courtesy. "Update pending, due to review period." Marcus nodded. "That's what I expected." In the lobby, voices echoed off the ceiling. Shoes crossed the floor in different directions. A sign reminded visitors to check in. "The fast option is gone," Marcus said. "We'll have to build from scratch." At the door, my phone buzzed again. A message from Ryan waited, already read. "We didn't want this to get ugly." The sidewalk was crowded. Someone asked for directions. Another person dropped a bag and swore softly. I kept walking, adjusting the strap on my shoulder. The office lights stayed on long after most of the building had emptied. Marcus's door was half open, papers stacked higher than usual, coffee gone cold where it had been forgotten. A janitor passed once, nodded, kept moving. No one asked why we were still there. Marcus leaned back and rubbed his eyes. "Families don't steal in dramatic ways," he said. "They do it slowly, by assuming." A printed packet lay between us. Bank statements, tax records, repair invoices with my name on them spread across several years. "You paid," he continued, "but you didn't claim. That gap matters." Outside, my phone kept lighting up. Messages rolled in faster than I could clear them. A cousin I barely knew had posted something vague online about loyalty. An old friend sent a screenshot with a question mark. Someone else asked if everything was okay because Ryan had mentioned stress at home. "He filed for residency," Marcus added, checking his screen. "This morning." "With what address?" I asked. "The house." That landed without noise. Marcus slid another page forward. And your mother sent this. The letter was handwritten, careful, slow. She described pressure, confusion, a sense of being overwhelmed. My name appeared twice, both times paired with concern. She's positioning herself, he said, not aggressively. That's intentional. A notification chimed. An automated email from the billing system appeared. Payment reminder. Thank you for your prompt attention. Marcus let out a short breath. They're always polite when they ask for money, he said. Work didn't pause for any of this. The next day, I sat through a meeting about supply delays, answered questions about timelines, signed off on a budget adjustment. A colleague leaned over afterward. Rough week, she asked. Busy, I said. At lunch, another message came through. People are saying you're trying to take the house. That's not like you. The words followed me back to my desk. So did the memory of checks written without a second thought. Roof repairs after a storm, plumbing that failed during winter, property taxes covered when Linda said cash was tight. None of it had my name on the title. Marcus called that evening. Come back if you can, he said. I want to walk through options. The park nearby had benches still warm from the day. A few people lingered, talking low, stretching time before heading home. I sat with my bag at my feet, watching the phone instead of the path. Another email arrived from the clerk's office. Your submission is under review. No timeline, no reassurance. Marcus called back 10 minutes later. The narrative is turning, he said. That's expected. What does that mean for us, I asked. It means we stop relying on goodwill. Back in his office, he pointed to the stack again. You trusted that being reasonable would protect you, he said. It didn't. A pause followed. Not uncomfortable, just accurate. You can still pull back, he added. We can slow this down. What happens if we do, I asked. He shrugged. Ryan settles in, your mother reframes, time does the rest. My phone buzzed again, a text from Linda. I don't recognize what you're doing. This feels cruel. Marcus didn't look at the screen. If we proceed, he said, everything comes into play. Accounts, transfers, patterns. That includes me, I said. Yes. The printer started up behind us, spitting out another copy of the same forms. I don't want this public, I said. It won't be, he replied, but it won't be gentle either. Outside, someone laughed too loudly. A car alarm chirped once and stopped. The building hummed the way offices do when no one's supposed to be there. Another message arrived, this time from Ryan. You're forcing our hand. Mom's not sleeping. The words sat there, heavy with implication. Marcus closed the folder. You've been covering costs for years, he said. You never asked what that made you. A memory surfaced of standing in line at the bank, explaining why I needed another cashier's check, of being thanked for stepping up, of being told it meant a lot. It hadn't meant enough to write my name down. The billing email chimed again, identical to the first. Thank you for your prompt attention. Marcus turned the monitor slightly, almost apologetic. They're consistent, he said. The pen waited where he said it. Not dramatic, just available. Once this goes in, he said, there's no undo. The park outside filled as offices closed for good. People packed bags, checked watches, moved on. Use everything, I said. He didn't ask me to repeat it. The pen moved across the page. Papers slid into order. The printer woke again, steady, indifferent. My phone buzzed once more while Marcus gathered the documents. A family group chat lit up, active, scrolling too fast to read. I turned the screen face down and stood, adjusting the strap of my bag as he headed toward the door, already preparing the next filing. The county records office opened early and moved slowly. People waited with numbered slips, shifting seats when their turn felt late, even if it wasn't. A clerk called names without looking up, voice flat, practiced. Marcus handed over a request form and stepped aside. The counter swallowed paperwork the way it always did, without comment. A woman behind the desk typed, paused, typed again. Last name, she asked. Carter, Marcus said. She scrolled, stopped, then reached for a folder from a tray behind her. The motion was unremarkable. What came with it wasn't. She read the entry out loud. "Warranty deed," she said. "Executed 14 months ago." Her tone didn't change. "Grantor, Linda Carter. Grantee, Emily Carter." The words landed between us and stayed there. Marcus leaned closer to the counter. "Is that complete?" he asked. The clerk nodded. "Filed, recorded, not contested at the time." She slid the document across, already reaching for the next request. "No notes?" Marcus asked. "None," she replied. "Everything appears in order." A man at the next window argued about a parking violation. Someone coughed. A printer jammed and beeped until a different clerk fixed it. Marcus scanned the page once, then again. "This wasn't temporary," he said. The clerk didn't react. "If you need copies," she said, "the machine's down the hall." A small sign on the wall listed acceptable payment types. Cash wasn't one of them. Outside, the sidewalk filled the moment the door closed behind us. Marcus stopped walking. "This changes everything," he said, "and complicates it." At the diner near his office, menus stuck slightly to the table. The place smelled like grease and coffee that had been reheated too many times. We sat without ordering. "She transferred ownership when she needed collateral," Marcus said, "probably to reassure a lender. Then she pretended it never happened." "And the change she mentioned at the cafe?" I asked. "An attempt to undo what's already done." My phone buzzed before he finished. "Ryan, we need to talk. That paper was never meant to be permanent." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "They always say that," he said. Another message followed, this one longer. "Mom was under pressure. That document was just to help her breathe. You know that." Marcus folded the copy carefully. "The signatures are clean," he said. "The timing checks out. The notarization's solid." "And so what happens if this comes out?" I asked. He didn't answer right away. "It triggers questions," he said. "Why it was hidden. Why people acted as if it didn't exist." The waitress stopped by. "You ready?" she asked. "Coffee," Marcus said. "Black." She looked at me. "Same," I said. The phone buzzed again. This time, Linda. "I don't understand why you're doing this. That paper was never meant to hurt anyone." Marcus watched the screen light up and go dark. "She's framing it as intent," he said, "not outcome." Ryan called. The sound cut through the clatter of plates. "I just want to see the document," he said when I answered. "There are questions about validity." "You can request it," I said. "Through you?" "Through the county." A pause followed. "That'll drag things out," he said. "That's not my call." The line went dead. The coffee arrived. The waitress set the mugs down and slid a sugar caddy closer, then pulled it back when neither of us reached for it. Marcus took a sip and winced. "They don't improve with time," he said. An email notification popped up while he spoke. The county system acknowledged a copy request. Processing time, 5 to 7 business days. Marcus tilted the screen slightly. "Efficient," he said, in its own way. The messages didn't stop. A cousin asked why things were being escalated. An uncle suggested mediation. Someone else warned about public embarrassment. "They're worried about exposure," Marcus said, "not accuracy." "What about Ryan's filing?" I asked. "He can challenge," Marcus replied, "but it opens him up. And your mother." "What kind of open?" I asked. "Financial disclosures," he said. "Inconsistencies. Motive." The waitress dropped off the check without comment. The total included a small surcharge printed at the bottom. "Rising costs," it read. Marcus paid and stood. "If this goes public," he said, "no one keeps their story intact." Outside, the afternoon moved on without interest. A delivery truck blocked part of the street. Someone argued with a driver who didn't respond. Another text arrived from Linda. "We can still fix this quietly." Marcus read it over my shoulder. "That window closed," he said. "So what's the risk?" I asked. "Scrutiny," he said. "Once this surfaces, people start asking why." My phone buzzed again. Ryan, once more. "Please don't do this. Think about Mom." Marcus gathered the papers into his bag. The truth's already recorded, he said. We're just deciding when it speaks. We walked back toward his office. A man ahead of us dropped a stack of flyers and cursed softly while picking them up. At the door, Marcus paused. If we move forward, he said, no one comes out clean. The elevator arrived late, doors opening on a full car. Someone stepped off, annoyed, and squeezed past us. Marcus pressed the button again. Once this is filed, he said, the pressure increases. The phone buzzed one more time. A group message lit up, active and fast. We need to resolve this before it gets ugly. The elevator chimed. Marcus stepped in, holding the door with his hand. Decide, he said. The cafe looked the same as it had weeks earlier, which made it easier for everyone to pretend nothing had shifted. Tables were pushed together to fit the group. Cups arrived without being ordered. Someone joked about parking like it was a shared inconvenience instead of a warning sign. Linda sat near the center, posture arranged, voice already in motion. I'm glad we could all meet, she said. It's better to talk face to face. Ryan took the seat beside her, phone face down, knee bouncing under the table. A few relatives filled in around them, careful about where they placed their bags. Marcus arrived a minute after I did. No suit jacket, no folder visible. He nodded to the table as if he'd been invited by accident. This is my friend, I said. Marcus. Linda smiled, then paused. A friend? She asked. Yes. A server stopped by, glanced at the extra chair, and added a water without comment. Someone mentioned cake, then decided against it. Plates stayed stacked near the counter. Linda started again. We've all been under stress, she said. Mistakes happen when people panic. Marcus waited. He always did. Ryan leaned forward. This meeting was supposed to be about resolving things, he said, not escalating. Marcus folded his hands. I'll be brief, he said. The house was transferred last year. Silence spread unevenly. A warranty deed was executed, he continued. Signed, notarized, recorded. Linda laughed once, sharp and quick. That can't be right, she said. That was temporary. Marcus didn't argue. The document lists Emily as the grantee, he said. There's no expiration. Ryan sat back. You can't just say that, he said. There are procedures. There were, Marcus replied. They were followed, and someone cleared their throat. Another person stared at the table, tracing a circle with a fingertip. Linda reached for her water, then stopped. This feels unfair, she said. You know why I did it. Marcus nodded. Financial pressure, he said. That's documented too. The server returned, holding a cake knife. Do you want me to cut this now, she asked, or wait until everyone's ready? No one answered. She hesitated, then smiled politely. I can split it later, she said. Looks like fewer people than expected. Ryan pushed his chair back. You don't get to decide this, he said, voice rising. You never lived there. That's not relevant, Marcus said. It is to us, Ryan shot back. Marcus turned his attention to him. You filed for residency, he said. You no longer have standing. Ryan opened his mouth, then closed it. Linda stared at Marcus as if looking for a crack that wasn't there. This is a family matter, an uncle said. Why bring the system into it? Marcus answered without shifting his tone. The system was already involved, he said. It was just ignored. The words settled. No one rushed to fill the space. Linda gathered herself. We can still talk privately, she said. This doesn't need to be public. Marcus glanced at me before responding. That decision isn't mine, he said. A phone buzzed somewhere at the table. No one claimed it. Ryan stood, chair scraping loud enough to draw looks from nearby customers. This isn't over, he said. Marcus didn't react. It is for today, he replied. The server returned again, uncertain. Should I bring boxes? She asked. In case you want to take the rest home? No, Linda said quickly. Maybe, someone else murmured. I stood without announcing it. Marcus followed. The rest stayed seated, hands occupied with nothing. Outside the cafe, traffic moved like it always did. Marcus checked his watch. We'll file the notice, he said. They'll receive copies. What happens then? I asked. Their attorney calls, he said. Or they don't. At his office, the elevator arrived full. A couple stepped out, arguing about groceries. We stepped in as the doors closed again. A man near the back sighed. "Long day," he said to no one. In the hallway, a receptionist waved without smiling. "They called already," she said. "Left a message." Marcus nodded. "They always do." Paper slid through a printer. A stamp pressed down with a dull thud. The motion repeated, steady, indifferent. Marcus handed me a copy. "This confirms receipt," he said. In the lobby, a sign reminded visitors to silence phones. Mine buzzed anyway. A message from Ryan waited, unopened. Outside, someone asked Marcus for directions. He pointed and kept walking. At the corner, we paused. Marcus adjusted his bag. "You did what you needed to," he said. The phone buzzed again. Another message stacked on top of the first. I didn't open either. Marcus turned toward his car. I headed the other way, slipping past a group arguing about where to eat next, the cafe door closing behind me without ceremony. The last meeting took less time than the first phone call had weeks earlier. Marcus stacked the documents, checked a box on a form, and slid everything across the desk for signature. The pen was the same one he always used. It didn't pretend to be ceremonial. "County acknowledgement came through this morning," he said. "Corrections noted. File closed." A printer hummed and stopped. The receptionist dropped off a stamped receipt without looking at either of us. Linda's name appeared once in the packet, attached to a correction notice. The language was careful. Misrepresentation. No adjectives, no explanation. Just a record that would follow wherever records went. Ryan's name appeared on a different page. Request denied. Standing revoked. A brief line explained that future filings would require new grounds. None were listed. "No charges," Marcus said, "but the doors people knock on won't open anymore." There was no call scheduled. No apology offered. The only contact after that arrived as letters, thin envelopes, formal fonts, addressed to Marcus's office. He forwarded copies without comment. Outside the building, the sidewalk carried its usual traffic. Someone hurried past, late for something that mattered to them. Another person stopped to tie a shoe and stayed there longer than needed. At the bank, a clerk typed while glancing between screens. "Just confirming ownership details," she said. "This will take a moment." A small pause followed while the system caught up. "Happy belated birthday," she added, smiling the way people do when they read dates aloud. "Looks like you had a busy month." She printed a confirmation and slid it over with a pen. "Sign here." Work went on. Meetings stayed on the calendar. Deliverables kept their deadlines. A supplier missed one, then apologized. Another project moved ahead early. None of it asked questions. The house didn't change overnight. A management company handled the listing. The lease went to a couple with steady references and a preference for quiet weekends. Rent arrived on time. Repairs went through the portal instead of my phone. Marcus emailed a final update. "All set," he wrote. "Let me know if anything resurfaces." Nothing did. At the train platform after work, the crowd shifted as the arrival board updated. A delay flashed and cleared. Someone sighed. Someone else laughed into a phone about it. A message from Ryan sat unopened for days, then disappeared when I cleared the thread. Linda's number stopped calling. The silence wasn't dramatic. It just stayed. A coworker asked if things had settled. "Yes," I said. She nodded and moved on to the next topic. One afternoon, an envelope arrived from the county. The return address was familiar. Inside, a single page confirmed closure. The tone thanked me for cooperation and reminded me to retain copies for my records. "Thank you for your prompt attention." No names, no sentiment. On the way home, a car stalled at a green light. Horns followed. The driver shrugged through the window. Traffic adjusted. The management app pinged with a routine update. The tenants had asked about replacing a fixture. Approval took one click. A confirmation followed. Approved. At the station, a man asked for directions. I pointed. He thanked me and went the wrong way anyway. There was no last conversation to avoid, no meeting to cancel. The workday ended like it always did, with people drifting toward exits and plans that had nothing to do with mine. Marcus texted once more. "Closing note archived," he wrote. I replied with a single word. "Thanks." The train arrived, doors opened, people stepped on with the tired coordination of practice. I took a seat near the aisle, bag at my feet, phone face down. The ride carried us past stops that sounded familiar when announced. Someone read a paperback. Someone else scrolled. An alert chimed from the transit app and vanished. At my stop, the platform was crowded enough to feel anonymous. A bus pulled in late. A driver called out a route number. A couple argued about dinner plans and resolved it without agreement. Walking home, the phone buzzed with a reminder from the bank to set up alerts. Another notification followed from work about a meeting rescheduled. Nothing asked for a statement. Keys turned, the door closed, mail waited on the counter again, bills and flyers mixed together like they always did. Later, a message arrived from the management company confirming the lease start date. I forwarded it to Marcus out of habit, then stopped myself and archived it instead. At the station the next morning, the board listed times without comment. A delay appeared and cleared. Someone laughed about it, the way people do when nothing else fits. There was no speech to give. No one needed reassurance. The system had spoken, and then it moved on. I stepped onto the train with everyone else, the doors closing behind us, the day already continuing without anything left to announce.